Hi, I'm Peter, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I handle time in React. And I'll just directly jump into a demo. So here you'll see a website, and I have two blocks. And what I'm going to show you is on the left side, I can click a button, and this is adding a few colorful blocks to the website. The idea is that all of these are flipping, and based on the time when they were mounted, they are flipping every 2 seconds. As you can see, like they are flipping, they're not really in sync, and depending on what you want to do, this might not be the right thing for you. So what I'm going to show you, what you can do with React Time Sync, is to take this and turn it into a synchronized version. That means that no matter when your components mount, they will be synced together and updated together in time. But let's start at the beginning, like where is actually the problem with handling time in React? So here we are looking at a very simple component. It's a person component, and it takes two props, name and a Unix birth date. And what it's supposed to do is to display like the name and how old a person is in seconds. So let's look at this website like on how it looks like. Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm actually not even sure how old that is, but yeah, like I'm a lot of numbers old. But we directly see a problem here. The seconds are not updating. So kind of what I did was wrong. If I refresh the page, the number updates, so like I'm a few seconds more old now. Yeah, and the question is now, how do we handle this correctly in React? And what React Time Sync does is that it gives you hooks to quickly update your components whenever the time changes. So there is a hook called useTime, and I can then use it to update this UI whenever the time changes. So let's see here, and now I open it again, and now this is updating every second. You can also pass through different configurations on like multiple seconds or at different intervals. But now you're probably thinking like, do I really need a library just for writing a few use effect and state code? No, there is a little bit more to it because time is actually more complicated than it appears right now. So I want to go into two use cases that appear very often. There is something that is the time from now. So like use cases that happen exactly from now in a few seconds or minutes, and there is a time on the calendar. Maybe a few examples. So for time from now, like if you think of a train that you enter every day, you press a button, and after 8, 10, 15 seconds, the door will close again. This is not linked or synchronized to any other event. It's just really you press a button, 8 seconds later, something is happening. I also like have a very quick demo to show you. You might see this from UI. Let's say we have a simple button and we want to block the input for a few seconds. So I press send, and then it says like try again in 1, 2, 3 seconds, or 3 to 1, and then I can press it again. This is again, it's not linked to anything, so not linked to the time on the wall or anything that we care about. It's really just for this component, the time from now. In 3 seconds, make this button active again. So that is time from now. Time on calendar is something else. If you think about it, like we all are synchronized, like for the time on calendar, everyone knew, okay, React Day is today, and we have to get here at 8:20. It starts at 9:20. The open source stage starts at 14 o'clock, and most importantly, the party is at 8. So this is all information that we know, and we synchronize around this. And very often, we have applications that also should synchronize around the wall clock. And why am I so interested in this is because I'm one of the co-founders of Order, and maybe I quickly want to explain you what it is and why time is so important for us and for our applications. So Order is an application which allows you to pre-order food to pick it up. I guess it's very simple. You probably know a lot of delivery apps. This is just like delivery, but for pickup, especially targeted towards lunch breaks so that you can just quickly get it and you don't have to wait for a delivery driver. Why is time important in this context? Because our partners, or our restaurants, they really care a lot about time. So like they have opening hours, they open and they close. They have certain dishes which are available during certain times, usually kitchen hours. That is very normal. And that also means that pretty much all the parts of our application have to represent the correct state of the current time of the wall clock. And this means that, for example, here we are looking at the phone. It's currently 10:27, and here I wanted to highlight like some parts of the UI which have to update depending on the current time, and which also should be synchronized together so that the UI doesn't flash weirdly. So maybe let's look at the top. What we allow users is like to select the time frame for when the order should be ready, like to also give the restaurant some flexibility and not say that it has to be ready at a certain time. And these are in 15-minute intervals. And as you can see, like they are linked to 11 o'clock, 11:15, 11:30. So depending on the time, we should also update these order time windows. So kind of every 15 minutes it should update, but not like weirdly or randomly. So it shouldn't show like 10:37, but it should really be linked towards like round hours, starting with the full hour. So what React Timesync does here for us is if we specify we want a 15-minute interval, no matter when the component is mounted, so be it 11:27, it will actually give us the last previous past time, i.e. 11:15, and then call us again next in 3 minutes, 11:30. If we look down, then we see a more granular level. So these items, they have certain kitchen hours. So as you can see, like a Paris salad can only be ordered from 11:30, and right now it's 10:27. So at the latest at 10:30, it should update again, and that hey, you can now order a Paris salad. So here also each item is different, and this is why, like for example, hooks or a component really help, because then each component can have its own timer and react to time differently in the granularity that is required. It can also go more granular than this. So like for us on the restaurant side, we are having like second updates so that they know whether our restaurant partners are holding the preparation time that they promised. And here, this is also designed in a way that if your UI right now is able to handle 60 frames per second, then the addition of this library will not make it slower. All right. Then what I still want to show you as well is what else you can do. So like there are basically, it doesn't offer a lot of functionality. It's designed to be small. There are two basic hooks which can be used. One is use time, one is use countdown. Use time counts up, so it gives you the current wall clock time, granular to the interval that you specified, and use countdown counts forward. So like kind of you saw this button demo, this is using a countdown, where I say that I want to be woken up in 3 seconds, for example, and this is also rounded to the nearest unit that you expect. So for example, if you want to count down to a particular day, let's say New Year's Eve, and you are mounting your website in the middle of a day, then you will be called at midnight again, and then midnight the next day again, and you don't have to do anything for this. I'm a little bit over time, so I will not go too much into detail about Redux usage, but just to explain like on why it's important to round to the nearest past unit as well. What it allows us to do is to use selectors, and then, for example, for these pre-order time windows, we do not waste any resources and re-render components when we don't have to. So this allows you also to be more efficient here. Last summary, when should you use this? If you display something in the context of a wall clock time, and I really urge you to challenge your applications and check it out, because very, very often you are doing this, even although like we don't expect that we have time in there. And if you want to synchronize timers across an application, so if you want to have everything update at the same time. Don't use it when you need millisecond precision. So for example, for gaming, this only handles seconds because we are not guaranteed by JavaScript to be called in time. So probably you have to use something else for that. And I also would not recommend to use this on the back end. It might invite you to do some tasks, and it might work for daemon tasks, but for anything else, it's probably better to use a managed cloud service. All right, that is already it. I want to thank you very much for your attention, and also to my colleague who created the demo that you saw in the beginning. I'm going to tweet out the link to the demo so that you can see them. Feel free to check out the library.